Why don't you go see your boyfriend?
Yeah, he's got a nice room. He won't have it long. He left a call for 7 a.m.
See if we can figure out something.
Listen to a file.
Hiya. Wow, that looks a lot messier on screen than I thought it would. I made it all cozy for the cats last night. Flash fan 85. Hi, I'm new here. How are you? I am good, thanks, and you? Hey, Lisa. Doing wheel spins. Is that Friday kind of feeling? I am not wheel spinning. I was spinning my wheels, but I wasn't wheel spinning. Does that even make sense? Just wrapped up some stuff. My brain doesn't quite feel like it's Friday yet, but I am cautiously optimistic that we will wind down. And I know it's like only morning time for a lot of people, but it's 20 to 7 here. And I'm in desperate need of two things: pizza and more cool drink. But I wanted to start the live and then while we're watching stuff, just sort some things out. I mentioned yesterday that, is it, Ozark, one of the two, that we watched in Thurston, the man who didn't want to use technology. They're back in Thurston Small Claims Court today. So let's hop over there. They should be on soon. They've done the welcome thing already. We can actually go back to the beginning.
I've been advised that you have a default.
Okay, so it's none of these. However, I'm pretty sure we watched Adelie Sabin. She was, yes, we did. We watched these two as well. We definitely did. I need to try find that video.
Issue on a mediation that was done through DRC. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so how that's handled is normally you file something in writing with the court, and then the court reviews all the information and makes a decision ex parte. So you have to file something ahead of time with the court for the judge to review. Okay?
Is that regarding the mediation?
Yeah, regarding what the agreement was and how, what the dispute is, why it isn't resolved. Because you should have something in writing from DRC about the mediation.
Yes.
So just file that and what the concern is, what you want the judge to do, and then the judge will review all that.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
So there's nothing I can do for you today.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Right. You can sign off now. Okay, so on cause number 37312, Vicky, is it Kammerer? You can you turn on your microphone? And then is Christian Cobb or Adelie Sabine present?
I'm present, Adelie Sabin.
Okay. And somebody, John?
Yes, ma'am.
From Vanguard Realty?
Yes, ma'am.
You're here present. Okay, so again, this is cause number 37312. I understand there was an issue that all parties agree that the right defendant or the wrong defendant is present. So, can Ms. Kammerer, you're the one who brought this matter. What is your understanding of what's going on here?
I am concerned that I will lose the ability to collect any judgment if Christian gets out of the military. So I really would like to not have this extended again or continued again. He has chosen not to show up. Last time he chose not to turn on his video camera so the judge wouldn't talk to him. And I've left a message for him trying to get some response. I've got no response about a week ago. I have been able to talk to Adelie. They lived in my townhouse for they had a 6-month lease together. They were married at the time. Adelie had to leave because of abuse after 1 month. And then he stopped paying rent. And so it was basically an unlawful detainer. And John was the property manager.
Okay, I'm gonna stop you guys for just a minute. Okay, before I hear anything more, can the three of you raise your right hand? And I need to swear you all in. Do you swear or affirm any testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Yes, Your Honor.
I do.
Okay, all right. Okay, so what can you explain to me? I understand you believe the correct defendant would be Mr. Cobb, correct? And just for the sake of the hearing here in the courtroom today, I do not see Mr. Cobb present on video nor in the courtroom. He was given proper notice of today's hearing, so we are going to proceed without him being present. Okay, so go ahead and present whatever evidence you want to present. Miss, how do you say your last name? Kammerer?
Kammerer, yeah. Like someone with a
Okay,
big
go-
hammer. Kammerer.
Okay, go ahead.
So John was the property manager at the time and rented the property to Adelie and Christian. They paid the first month's rent and last month's rent, correct, John?
Not really. They because of state law, I offered to have it paid over 3 months.
Oh, that's right.
So they paid 2, and then
Right.
the blow up happened, and
Yeah. So
yeah,
bottom line is you can see on page 9 of my information that I submitted, the accounting of the monies that I received and the monies that were unpaid for rent and fees and utilities. I have the tenants put the electric in their name when they move in, and Adelie did that. And then when she moved out, she took it out of her name, and then it went back into my name, and Christian would never put it into his name. And by law, I can't turn it off.
And so when did Adelie move out?
I moved out I left on August 28th, and then my family and I went and moved my stuff out on the 30th or 31st, one of those 2 days, but
you called me that morning to come there, so I can look it up if you need to.
Yeah, but
Okay.
I did, oh yes, the move out date when we went and grabbed my stuff was the 31st, but I left the house on the 28th.
Okay, go ahead, Miss
So there's
Cameron.
several months rent that has not been paid, and again, the utilities, and it's electric heat, so it's sizable, along with water.
There was also move out expenses because he abandoned personal property.
Right.
Okay,
And storage.
Okay.
So
And so I see all the documentation here. So to be clear, are you making any of these claims against Adelie Smith, Sabine? Is it Sabine? Sabine?
Yeah.
Sabine?
Yeah.
Sabine, okay.
Um,
Or just against Christian Cobb?
The only one that involves Adelie Sabin is the living room blind that her cat broke. And I had just done like a $30,000 renovation on that unit before they moved in. So it was disheartening.
Okay, and had you discussed that one issue with Miss Sabine with the mediator?
Right.
And have you been able to reach an agreement on that one issue?
We did last time, but I don't think it was correct because it included the moving expenses that really were Christians, because he left food in the freezer and food, he left everything when he did move out.
you took anything
Okay.
of value.
Yeah.
So I want to deal with, because it sounds like so do you believe that the majority of what you're requesting today is against Mr. Cobb?
Right.
Because that's, okay. So I'm wondering if we could take just a minute to have you talk with the DRC mediators to work something out with Ms. Sabin, and then come back and deal with the rest of the claims against Mr. Cobb.
Sure.
Do you think you guys would be willing to do that, Ms. Sabin? Would you be willing to do that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Of course.
So can,
I'll go ahead.
Thank you,
yeah.
Jan.
Yeah, let's do that, and then I'll call you guys back and we'll talk about the other issues against Mr. Cobb. I'm not going to set it over again. So,
Thank you.
okay.
Thank you.
Another one ready to go. Okay, so I'm going to step off again until everybody's ready to go again.
Oh, okay. They stopped that again. I think I might have found this one. No, that is not the right one. So I know that I've seen her and Vicky Camarera before. It's just whether I saw it on a live or I saw it by myself. And if I saw it by myself, did I do anything about it? I currently do not know about that. Judge Simpson has had quite a day in his landlord-tenant. Started off very strong with a weird land case and all of that. He is live now. But first, I feel so organized until I want to show you guys something, and then I'm like, wait, where did I save this thing? Court to watch. Let's see. I think that's the one we watched. We did watch that already. Judge Middleton also had a strange landlord-tenant day. He's off this afternoon for his wedding anniversary. Let's hop over to this judge.
2401-240, Jill Meister.
Morning, Your Honor. Samira Matlous on behalf of the people.
Good morning, Your Honor. Megan McDonald on behalf of Ms. Meister, who is present on Zoom this morning, and we consent to have this hearing via Zoom.
Ms. Meister, state your name, please.
Jill Meister.
Meister is how you say it. Sorry about that, Ms. Meister. Today's date and time set for a probable cause conference. Where do we stand?
Your Honor, I have discussed with Ms. Matlous this matter, and we are going to.
Oh.
Think we lost.
I think she'll be back. Just hold on one second.
I remembered. I wanted to check if Judge Allen, if that guy came back that was going to bet on his daughter's
Okay,
life.
Ms. McDonald. We're looking up dates right now, Ms. McDonald.
No problem, Your Honor.
Okay, Ms. McDonald, I can do September 20th, either morning at 10:30 or afternoon at 1:30.
20th. That's the soonest date you have, Your Honor.
Yes, September 20th.
We could do the 20th works for us.
Would you prefer morning at 10:30 or afternoon at 1:30?
We could do 10:30.
Okay. This will be set
That
for
works.
an in-person exam on September 20th at 10:30 a.m. All right, bond is continued.
Thank you, Your Honor. And we'll let the AP know if we plan to do anything different.
Great, Ms. Meister, you can log off now. You're all set.
Bill, I'll give you a call, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, Your Honor. Day. Thanks, Samara.
Okay, there are a couple of attorneys here. Ms. Cole is in room 2 waiting to speak with you. And then we have counsel on Campbell and for Kane. So that'll be room 3 and room 4.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Your way, okay?
Okay.
Wow, quite a day.
First available slot, and then
Okay, it was nice.
attorney. So we have Mr. Stringer set at 9:46. So we're going to try to track down his attorney. I just wanted to give you a heads up, so we're just not in limbo. But we're going to give him a call right now and see if he can log in early. Okay.
Okay, yeah, it was 9:15 on our sheet somehow. I don't know how that got.
It happens. You know, it's one of those things where it's scheduled on our end, and then when we schedule the video, staff might just take the first available slot, and then there's wires crossed. But we'll get to work on it right now.
Okay, thank you.
Should we just give up on this one?
So David Sanuko, okay? Stringer. All right, thank you. Bye-bye. Success. Mr. Sanuko was able to log in early. So Mr. Sanuko, do you need to speak with your client?
No, I'm good, Judge.
All right. Ms. Cole, do you need to speak with your client?
Sure, why not? But we're just doing an adjournment, Your Honor.
Okay, I've got to put Mr. Stringer on the record, so you'll have time to touch base with her real quick then.
Perfect.
All right. Ms. Urell, your attorney would like to speak with you in room number 1.
Okay, sounds good.
Ms. Montlewis, sorry to interrupt, but we do have Mr. Stringer here, Mr. Sunuko. Mr. Stringer's in custody, so I appreciate you popping out for a minute to help us on this, okay?
Perfect.
Okay, 24011173, Tyler Stringer.
Good morning, Your Honor. Samira Matlous on behalf of the people.
Good morning, Your Honor. For the record, David M. Sunuko, P number 52801, appearing on behalf of Mr. Stringer with no objection, appearing via Zoom.
Mr. Stringer, can you state your name, please?
Linda Stringer.
All right, today's date and time set for competency review. I have a report from the Forensic Center indicating that Mr. Stringer is competent at this time. Is there a stipulation to this report, Ms. Lewis, Mr. Sunuko?
The people stipulate to that report, Your Honor.
Judge, I would stipulate that if Dr. Paul appeared and testified, that the doctor would testify consistent with the contents of the report, finding Mr. Stringer competent.
All right. All right, that stipulation being in place, the court having reviewed the report, I will make a finding in order of competency. Let me just endorse the file for a moment. Hold on.
This is a lesson to me to name my files better, because I have Thurston County, Thurston 1, Thurston MP4.
Okay. All right. I find him to be competent, and Ms. Montlewis, you prepare an order. I'll sign the same. Now, at this point in time, we can continue on with the probable cause conference. What are we setting this for exam, or what are we doing?
We're setting it for exam, Judge.
I agree. Mr. Stringer's in custody. I want to set this for exam as soon as possible. Let me just get with my staff to see what our next available date is, and we can get moving on this. So just give me
Very
one
good,
second.
Judge.
In the meantime, surely this guy going into the military and having a small claims this dude is good looking. He shouldn't be sitting in jail. Like, if he's in this court for doing something naughty, I'm disappointed. He could have actually easily done like modeling or something. Anyway, that was very judgmental, and I'm sure it's gonna work itself out. What was I saying again? Oh, in the meantime, if that guy has gone into the military and they're having these issues and they can't get him to pay the money, and he destroyed the house and there's abuse allegations, like, doesn't someone in the military then come forward, or like, you know, oopsie, I'm skipping the wrong thing. I'm skipping this calendar. instead of my Thurston thing. I'm so sorry. No, I don't remember where I paused. I think it was here. Like, you know how they can garnish you for money owed from your employer. Can't they do that with a military person? They surely know where he is.
Okay, so the court cannot accommodate any exams next Friday. So the first available date, and when I say we can't accommodate, due to there's a citywide event that's requiring court closure. So we are not available until the 6th. I have multiple exams on the 6th, but Mr. Stringer being in custody, I'm going to move him to the front of the line so I could see him as quickly as possible. And that will be September 6th at 1:30. So Mr. Stringer, I appreciate the fact it's not lost on me that you're in custody. So I am moving this as quickly as possible, and I will get this date and push some other exams behind so that you can be heard on the 6th. It will be in person. So you'll be transported down so that you can be present for any proceedings related to this matter. Mr. Sunuko, anything else for the record?
Yeah, Judge, if I could orally address the issue of bond.
Go ahead.
Judge, my client's current bond is 50,000 cash surety. I had communication with my client. He's the owner of a company involved in a community outreach program. He's a published author, Judge, with a book on Amazon. He's got 3 children, Judge, that he needs to take care of. The mother of those children was killed tragically last year. We're asking the court to potentially consider a 10% bond with GPS tether.
Ms. Mount-Lewis? Oh, you're on mute. You're on mute, Ms. Mount-Lewis.
Your Honor, the defendant currently has other bond issues. Let me just pull up, I'm sorry. It looks like he has a 10%, $25,000 bond out of the 50th court. He also has a so he, in addition to our bond, he also has a $25,000 10% in a different court, Your Honor. I don't see any abuse of discretion at this time with the severity of these allegations.
So the challenge we're running into is there is a significant criminal history that we have involved here, mostly out of Texas, that I'm observing. He has a pending harassment case in the 50th District Court, and then obviously the serious nature of these offenses. But that being said, like, I don't know any of the facts related to this case. So, Mr. Sunuko, I'd feel more comfortable making an adjustment to bond after I hear the facts. So I have no problem with us reevaluating or having another conversation with this on the 6th. So it's a denied for now, but not denied forever. So let's hear the witnesses, give Mr. Stringer a chance to confront his accusers, and then if the court feels that that's still an appropriate bond, I can keep it in place, or I can look at the length of time that Mr. Stringer stayed in and some of the other alternative methods and make an adjustment. So again, it's a denied for now, but I'm inviting you, Mr. Sunuko, to renew your motion on September 6th.
Very good. Thank you, Judge. Have a good day.
All right, we'll see everybody back on the 6th at 1:30. Thank you, everyone.
That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll be there. Back to Thurston we go. Jumping here. Pause. StreamYard has been having issues today, and it just said my audio cut off. So that's fun.
Can you hear me? Okay, anybody testifying? Okay. Do you swear to give the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay. All right, Mr. Orsic, this is your case. You can go ahead and present whatever evidence you want me to review.
Okay, ma'am. I've turned in 24 pages of evidence to you there. You have them on file.
Okay. All right, yeah, I have your file open here. Why don't you give me a rundown of what,
Okay, I have
yeah,
statements
why don't
from
you give me
myself.
just a brief rundown of what you're looking for and what happened?
Okay, I'm looking for $8,097, I believe, in court costs for breach of contract and damages to my property and theft from Ricky Staten. I have testimony from myself, my wife, my neighbors, other people involved that have come across him stating to the fact of him saying he was going to take these things, steal these things from me, and they came to fruition while I was gone on vacation. He took all the firewood that we had as a combined business between himself and me, and traded for car parts, traded to his family members, paid off his attorney that he owed money to with the firewood, and sold a bunch of firewood. It started out, it was pretty good. He called me up at the end of October, said the firewood sales were going fine. He'd sold 7 cords to a Teresa and some other cords to other lady for that came off the advertisement that my wife and son were running advertisements for it. I have pictures of that in my evidence too. The advertisements. I have receipts of firewood that we sold. Every morning, Ricky would come, sit on our porch, have coffee. We pay him his half on the money for the firewood, the camp firewood, the poles and such that we sold. When my wife and I had to leave for Virginia from family members' health, ailing health and business, and down into Mississippi, I took Ricky down to the wood yard where I collect the firewood from, introduced him to the people there, and let them know that I was going to be out of the picture for a while, and if it would be okay for Ricky to come in and still collect the firewood so that we can keep our business going. They agreed to it, and so we left in September 23. Towards the end of July, the campfire wood had burn ban, so we were unable to sell that, but my wife and I continued processing wood and cutting, stacking, and we have pictures for the advertisement, pictures of the wood that my wife and I collected at his house, and we continued processing the wood for winter sales. Towards the end of October, calls started coming in. We have text messages, phone numbers of clients that called to purchase firewood. We contacted Ricky. Ricky made the deliveries. Ricky was concerned about labor help. Before we left, we agreed upon if he needed help, my son or his roommate would help. Any cord of wood that was sold and he needed help on, he would pay $25 out of his cord of wood. I would pay $25 out of my cord of wood to pay for the extra labor. It was all agreed upon, witnessed to by my wife, my son, neighbors knew of our process. The lady that owns the campground where we sold firewood is aware of it. She has testimony in there too. During the month of November, sales were pretty good. Ricky called me up and wanted to know what to do with my share of the money, if he should hold on to it in his safe, put it in a bank, or send it to me in the mail. I told him when I got home, we would go over all the figures and divide the money accordingly. About November 15th, 2023, Ricky called me up. He was excited, anxious, irate, saying that he had no wood left. He didn't know what to do. What is he supposed to do? I told him, I go, that's a good run. That I was happy. That's wonderful. He sold all the firewood. He said yes, and he didn't know what to do. I told him, you go down to the wood yard. I introduced you to these people, and you keep collecting firewood, keep selling it. He said, okay, he thinks he can do that. I told him, the best part about this, Ricky, is you're collecting the wood yourself. You sell it. The profits from now on will be yours. I am not involved in on it since you're collecting the wood yourself and you're selling it. He got mad, yelled, started cussing me out, saying none of the wood he had sold already was mine, that he wasn't paying me nothing, that he would kick my ass or shoot me when I got home if I tried to get the money back. And I was driving at the time of that phone call, so I had my wife, she had me on speakerphone. I told her, you just hang up the phone, I'll have to handle this when I come home. When I got home, early January, I approached Ricky about it. He told me that possession is 9/10 of the law. None of that wood was mine, and he was going to keep it all. I told him he has to pay me for it, and he said he did not, that he traded most of it for car parts and to pay his attorney off that he owed money to, and that I wasn't getting nothing. And I was asking him about my tools that I left that processed the wood, my toolboxes, things like that, grinders, chains. He said I didn't get none of that back. He don't know what he did with it, and that I needed to leave his property. As I was leaving, I noticed propane bottles on the side of his house that belonged to me. I asked him, what are you doing with all my propane bottles? He stole them from my property. He says possession is 9/10 of the law. And he said that he had dropped a tree on my fence and that he'd fix that when he got time. Well, when I got back home, I noticed my car had been ransacked and that the battery was missing. So I approached Ricky the following day and asked him about my battery. He said, well, he don't remember what he did with it. He took it out of there, put in one of his trucks or something, and he don't know where it's at. But he gave me another battery and said, here, take this battery until I find yours. The battery he gave me was no good. I took it to the shop. I have receipts in there that show the battery was no good. Had to bring it back to him. Gave him the battery back, and he said he don't know what he did with my battery. And if he ever come across it, he would get it back to me. And at this time, he was getting pretty hostile. It was hard to talk to him. So I went down to the courthouse there. I filed for a restraining order to keep him off my property because I have pictures and videos of him coming on my property, stealing fencing and taking fence posts from under my utility shed. And they're in the evidence there too. Pictures of him leaving my property. I won the case in there that he is not allowed to come around my property no more. And I filed for the small claims to try to be reimbursed of some of the monies that he has taken from me, the firewood and such like that.
Okay, let me stop you for a minute, Mr. Orsak. So I'm looking through all your exhibits, and it looks like you have a business or have had a business, Chunks and Ends wood business that you sell mostly at Miller Sylvania Park, is that correct?
Yes, until winter time, and then it would go to home buyers for their firewood. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and so
Yes,
where
those
did
are
you typically, go ahead. What were you saying,
I'm
sir?
I'm sorry. Yeah, those are the advertisement chunks and ends, chip piles. There's cookies and the other wood. Yes, ma'am. Those are advertisements my wife ran and my son ran for the business. We ran it through my business, tools, etc. And then there's also on page 8. Page 8 has receipts for the bundles of firewood that were being sold out at the campsite, which we shared with Ricky every day. He sat on a porch and had coffee with us, was paid. We also sold what's called poles, fence poles, because wood was kind of skinny, but ranchers and farmers liked them as poles. We sold those. We gave half the money to Ricky. The firewood that started selling is usually a wintertime thing. Like I said, it started around the end of October. We started getting calls in on the regular firewood, the huge piles.
Typically get your wood?
Pardon me?
Where do you typically get the wood from?
I was getting through private people cutting on their properties in the beginning, and then I was losing those people as they moved away and some people ran out of wood. I got permission down the street, about 8 years ago, to go into a pole yard. And I have special permission to get in there through the owners and people that work there gave me permission. There's only a couple people are allowed to go in there. They used to have a open area that was open to the public there, but three years ago, people that were coming in there started stealing from the company itself. So they put a stop on that and no longer allowed people to come in and get chips and ends of logs and things like that from them. Only a select few are allowed to go on the property, checking in at the office now, letting them know they're there. And I happen to be one of those people. So I am able to go into the wood yard and collect firewood. And that's
Okay,
why
so-
before I left, I introduced Ricky to them.
And how long have you been doing your business of the firewood business?
I've been collecting firewood most of my life, but here in Washington, I've been doing it for, I'd say 10, 12 years. I'm not a big firewood seller. I'd sell to close friends, sometimes to people if I need a little shot of money, I would sell. I did not want to get into firewood. I'm retired. I've been retired. And Ricky asked and asked and asked. And after his father passed away, I decided we got permission to sell campfire wood, which is a lot easier than selling firewood. I called Ricky, or I talked to Ricky again and told him we can start doing firewood. I'll help you for about a year, get you established in this. I taught him how to run chainsaws, how to run his tractor, how to fix chainsaws, how to change the blades, sharpen them, how to mix fuel. And I got him going in that and told him it would be for one season only, other than the campfire wood. My wife works there. She's been there 7, 8 years now. And it's a little opportunity to make a little bit of extra money while she's there delivering campfire wood. But as
Okay,
far as
so
the
I'm gonna-
firewood goes, I told him 1 year.
Okay,
go
so
ahead, ma'am.
Mr. Orsic, we need to, we have a lot of people on the docket today, so I need to consolidate what we're doing here. So you have a business that sells firewood and some other items. And at some point, Ricky was doing work for you or with you. How was that?
He wanted to go in the wood business, so I told him we'll split everything in half. We agreed to that. My wife was there, my son, my neighbors all know that we were in the wood business. Everyone knew we were in the wood business, splitting it 50-50. That's how our business started between him and I.
And when did that start?
That would be right after his father passed away. April, April of 2003. 23. I'm 23. I'm sorry.
So about a year and a half ago, a little over a
Yes,
year ago.
ma'am. Yeah.
Okay. And then at some point you went to West Virginia and he was going to be managing things while you were gone, but with your understanding was the agreement was still 50-50 split?
Yes, ma'am. We were agreeance on that. He actually, like I said, called me in the beginning of November and wanted to know what to do with my share of the money.
Okay. And when did you come back from West Virginia and notice there was a problem?
I noticed there was a problem before that. We started getting phone calls from people that were attending his yard sales and stuff. And they were saying he was talking very bad about us. There's testimonies in there from different people that he was going to steal my stuff, taking my firewood, wanting to take them out on dates after he sold my firewood, actually openly admitting he was stealing it from me and my tools, and was going to steal my car and other things. So we noticed it before that. I told the people when they call me, don't worry about it. I'll handle this when I get home. I don't know what's going on with Ricky. Something happened, and he's gone off the deep end or something, threatening me and keeping the money now. I don't know what happened with him, but we got back in January. I believe it was the 13th, and I waited a day. And then I went over and approached him about the missing wood, the missing tools, the missing everything.
Okay, and then so I see on page 3 and 3, actually it's page 4. It says page 3, but it's actually page 4 of your documents. There's an accounting of your damages.
Yes, ma'am.
That comes out to $8,085.06. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think it says, yeah,
Okay.
$85. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, did your, is that your wife that's present with you?
Yes, ma'am, this is my wife.
Did she want to provide any testimony or at this time?
She'd like to bear witness to the fact that she was here during all these things, and that she is witness to the verbal contract. She is the one that ran the advertisements and all that stuff.
I don't need to say anything. I'm just in agreement with all this because it did happen. I put a statement in also.
Okay, I'm going to hear from Mr. Staten now. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Okay, so you've heard allegations that have been made against you. Do you have some response to this?
Well, it's a fence. It's an 8-foot section. I have another 20-foot tree right on that same fence line, which a limb come out and fell on the fence. I agreed to fix the fence. I called James and told him I'd fix the fence. He did not have a problem. Got all the material to fix it. I still got another 25-foot section of a tree to take. I didn't fix the fence yet because I'm afraid if I cut this next chunk of tree down, it could fall on that same section of fence and I'd be repairing it again. As far as these propane tanks, when I was working in the moving industry, getting propane tanks from a customer, those propane tanks were sold to Tammy Johnson for Pamper Wilderness because they have barbecues. I sold them to her at $10 a piece. They were all stuck over at James's house because James would go get them filled. Well, Tammy asked me to pick them up. As far as him saying I'm trespassing on his property and such, I went over and returned keys. The photo they have of me leaving there of returning the keys to a 65 Ford Ranchero, which I stored for James in my garage while he was on vacation for 6 to 7 months. As far as 35 cords of firewood or 25 cords of firewood, I've never had that much on my property. The firewood that my property, any firewood James purchased on my property, The only firewood he was supposed to replace, personal firewood for my personal use, and never replaced it. That's what we use to selling firewood to campground. That wood is yet to be placed. And now he's hoping neighbors. He's got people vouching for him since my dad passed away, which was November 2012 of 22. James tried to be the best friend he could. Instead, he's done nothing but take it, manipulate me, take it from me, con me out of stuff, and turn everybody in the neighborhood against me to the point of I'm willing to sell my place just to get away from this. I don't owe James nothing but 2 plastic sharpening stuff in. I'm not stupid. I'm 63. I know how to run a tractor. I know how to run a chainsaw. He's making me sound like I'm an idiot, Your Honor, and I'm not. He's for me. He's done a lot of stuff for Dad, but being a neighbor is one thing. Being a friend is another. Being a con artist and manipulating me and taking advantage of me when after my dad is beyond what I can come. I don't owe him nothing but the tables, the toolbox, and repairing the fence. I sold some top rail cyclone fence posts at a garage sale. That guy buys some more fence parts. The cyclone fence, James says I stole. No, James sold to this guy. He wants me to pay him for stuff he sold. The battery, James has had keys to my house and my garage. When I've been working, he's come over and got the spray paint. I don't know if he took that battery out. Now he wants me to pay for something that he's already still has. I don't know. I just know $8,000. I just said, fire. All the God to take and for my personal use, and then I got to spend. If it was 50, I paid for all the diesel, all the repairs on my saws, all new blades, my wood splitter. I had to buy a carburetor for it. I paid for everything, and he's telling me it's a 50-50. Then where's my half that he owes me of his 50%? It's all been done on my property, no place else. I don't owe him anything but those items. That's it.
Mr. Staton, do you have anything, any evidence at all showing that the things that you paid for, the things that, did you bring anything with you to support what you're saying?
And then James was given $400 for a riding lawnmower in case we found one at a garage sale. And that $400, I sold my riding lawnmower to a friend of his, Larry, for $1,000. I got $600 from Larry. James got the $400, never received that. I sold TV for $100, never received that. And I sold, we went to garage sales and I purchased $100 worth of stuff, and I've never been reimbursed for that either.
So 100%.
Gas receipts, diesel receipts, stuff like that. I didn't get a chance to submit them to the court. I was all bought with either cash or my debit card. I got a dime for diesel repairs on my chainsaw, and now, like I said, he has had keys. I don't know where they're at now for my house. Now my chainsaw is up and walked away. My head trimmer's up and walked away. A bunch of other stuff I've had is up and walked away. Can't be home 24 hours a day. I am retired. I have limited income of Social Security of $1,500 a month. My roommate's only been there about a year. me cut and split all that firewood. I sold 2 cords of firewood and she bought 3 cords of chips. $3.50 a cord for the firewood and $2.50 for the cords of chip. I sold her 3 loads of chips for $500. So that's a total of $1,200 worth of firewood. He is right about the campfire wood. I've got majority, or if not all, of my half of the bundles of firewood we sold to the campground. I'll agree about that. But man, I've never had 25 to 35 cords. He wants me to pay him market value. The chips we get for free. He wants me to pay him $2.50 a load, which equals out a cord of something we got for nothing.
I've been handed a stack of receipts from various end of trail is an example of one. Oh, that's a gas receipt. Sweet Hometown Pumps. Looks like another gas receipt. So most of this is gas. Was there ever any agreement on who would pay for? I assume the gas is for either the chainsaws, the mowers, or your vehicle for delivery?
The vehicles are picking the wood up, for diesel for the tractor, gas for the wood splitter. Like I said, I don't know if I have the receipt there for the carburetor for the wood splitter. I replaced it. Jim doesn't put it on or put it on. My chainsaw, we went bolt down to the chainsaw shop. That was $80-some. Then it had to go back and now it's another $200-some. I don't know if that receipt's in there. And now I don't have a chainsaw. That's why I didn't finish taking that tree down. Receipts for down in Sweet Home, Oregon, because literally gas and diesel is a lot less expensive. So when I made trips down there to see my niece, my nephew, my sister, I'd take 5 or 6 gas cans, diesel cans, and fill up down there and bring back. That was a little less expensive than buying here. You know, I've got a lot of time. Like I said, my roommate cut and split all that wood. There was no help from James. Was on vacation.
And where did the wood come from?
The wood came from the pole yard, which I picked up 2 car trailer loads, which were like 20-foot logs, 6 to 8 to 10 inches around. I paid $150 a load. All the other wood that we bought by the truckload was $40 a load. Started out at 20, then it switched to $40 a load.
Do you have any receipts for, you said you paid so much per load, any receipts for any of that?
No, we always paid cash.
Okay.
James paid cash, I paid cash. My roommate gave James money when I used to work to pick up wood for him.
Okay.
And the firewood that was sold was just to be reimbursed for a lot of the expenses that I had that Jim hadn't even paid me half of.
Okay, I want to get to a couple of issues. One, you said that you did damage the fence when
Yes,
you
ma'am.
fell a tree, and that you were planning on fixing it, but haven't done that yet.
Yes, ma'am.
And what do you think, what is your belief on the cost of repairing that fence?
Well, I can skip taking that tree down or have someone professionally come in to take that down the rest of the way, and I can get the fence fixed. You know, like I said, my roommate's ill right now, so I'd say 30 to 60 days. It's just the top rail and then restretching the fence. It didn't get the fence post, just bent the top rail.
And what do you believe that would cost to repair?
Well, material only cost me about $50.
And then you also indicated that there were some cords of wood that you did agree that was something that you should have split with him.
Well, it should be split one. If we're gonna split it, should be split 3 ways. My roommate did all the work. I wasn't involved in cutting, splitting, loading it, and then he used my truck to deliver it.
Okay.
I delivered the chips.
Okay. So how much would you think needs to be split? How many cords?
700, split 3 ways. And then, you know, there was the expense of the fuel and stuff to do all that. So.
All right. What about the propane tanks? Do you have any evidence that those were yours, not Mr. Orsick?
They weren't mine. They belonged to Panther Wilderness.
Okay.
Jim always picked up the propane tanks for because they both work for Pampa Wilderness. And Tammy asked me to pick up the propane tanks, and I spent $80 getting them filled, and I took them over to Tammy's house.
Okay.
And the propane tanks that I had gotten from free from when I worked in the moving industry. And James says, well, Tammy wants a bunch of extra ones and was giving me $10 a piece, whether they were empty or full.
Okay. And you didn't bring any witnesses with you here today to talk about or confirm any of this?
No, my roommate, I took him to emergency, or ambulance picked him up in emergency last week. Okay. He got out of the hospital, so he's not doing well.
Okay. Anything else you want to say? Or else I'm going to give Mr. Orsick a chance to respond.
No.
Okay.
Yes, that's what I did.
Okay. Mr. Orsick?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Staton had to say?
Yes, I have heard from him. This is the third time in court. He changes his stories pretty regular. If you look at page 16, page 15, and page 16 on my evidence, this is Ricky's house. This is where he says he never had that much wood at his house. This is the firewood that my wife and I took there and loaded and cut and stacked. You can see it. And then the campfire wood is along the shed, in racks, and inside a shed. This is quite a bit of wood compared to what he's saying, 4 or 5 cords. There's roughly 18 to 22, close to 25 cords of wood there that I brought to his house. The advertisement pictures show the piles of wood and trailer loads of firewood that we had over there. I don't know how this adds to his character, but this is all at his house. All the work that was done on his chainsaws, his tractors, after he totaled his tractor, I rebuilt it for him. His chainsaws, I had to repair each and every one of them, put new chains, sharpen, and get them there. I did contribute jugs of diesel. I have my own tractors. I have my own log splitters that we use off and on too. Gasoline jugs. I brought gasoline over there. He is fabricating quite a bit here, and he's done it on, this is the third time on this case. He's changed from CDL, living alone, not having roommates, and now he has roommates and all kinds of things. I just like to get satisfaction out of this to the best of our ability without any more waves. I already have restraining orders to keep him away from our property, our family, and my wife's place of work. I'd like to keep it safe. I've been in this neighborhood. I used to own the property he's on. When I put that fence up, it was the third owner on there that I put the fence up for. And I instinctively put it on my side of the property, the adjoining property, so there would never be a dispute like this about the fence. And he's damaged it. He owes me. I have receipt on page 10, shows for a fencing contractor to come in, repair the fence, a list of what they need to replace. And I'd like to be justified in my battle here to get some of this after coming home from Mississippi and Virginia last year to this nightmare of what happened after all the years I've taken care of his father, changed his Band-Aids, cooked for him, took care of him for over 5 years. And even while Ricky worked, I took care of his father. Then I helped take care of Ricky, try to be the best neighbor I could, getting him started in a wood business. And this is the end result right here. And I feel very, very bad about it.
Okay. Anything further, Mr. Staton?
I appreciate Jim taking care of my dad. I appreciate Jim and Sue doing what they did. But that was an arrangement between my dad and them. My dad lived there many years prior to me moving out there to take care of my dad. I'm not denying that James and Sue was being good neighbors, but it just seems like I've been taken advantage. I've been conned. I bought, and James told me about some reloading equipment and some tools. I bought both those types of items. James has skimmed off the top of both of them. I've been nothing but taking advantage of it. I'm just done with it.
We're not going to go into all that again.
Right. That's it.
I'm gonna give these back to you. Okay. I have, I'm gonna find that there has been acknowledgement of damage to the fence, definitely going to award that. There is some issue about the firewood. I think that there's sufficient evidence that, some wood was sold that, Mr. Orsek is owed. With regards to the other items, there is testimony favoring Mr. Orsek that, is based upon independent witnesses, from what I can tell. I do find that the amount on the cords is a little on the high side. I'm going to award for Mr. Orsek in the amount of $6,000 today, plus the court costs. Okay? So that is, I'm just reducing, I found that the price on the cords of wood I found was a little high. I'm giving you the fence and some of the other items you suggested. And so, like I said, the total award will be $6,000 plus the court cost for filing the claim. And I'm signing this order now. 50 and service. Did you file a receipt for service of process?
Yes, ma'am.
You know what number that is? And what the cost was on that?
Cost. Give me one moment to look in my file, ma'am. $60.
Have you filed that with the court?
Yes, ma'am. Let me see. I'm gonna find it. Service notification. This is what we filed with.
It just says here plus court cost.
I'm sorry, I didn't submit it with the evidence, no, but I do have copies in my possession here. We have the subpoena of $60.
Page 3 as the.
Page 3. Let me see what I've got on page 3.
Okay, I'm gonna award that to you, so $50 for the filing fee and the 60 for service, for a total of $6,110. Okay, thank you.
6,110.
Yeah, thank you, and so you can sign off now.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day.
Okay, and you're done, thank you.
So how do I take care of, or see about taking care of this, or?
1 second, are you gonna give me a copy?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, I'm going to come back to one that we started earlier, and that is cause number 37312.
Before we do that, I want to show you this. This is the guy that we saw in Judge Menaka, I think is how you say his surname, in his court, the Amazon author. First of all, by the way, I cannot tell you how many people I worked on Amazon books for. Anyone can add a book to Amazon. It's pretty easy. So I don't, that when someone claims something like that, I'm like, okay. So I had to redact it because man charged with aggravated indecent exposure. A Detroit man is charged with aggravated indecent exposure after several witnesses say he exposed himself near an apartment pool before lying down in a nearby grassy area and debating. Suspect Len Tyler Stringer, 27, is jailed on a $50,000 cash bond and is set to appear before Royal Oak 44th District Judge. Police said they were called to the apartment complex at about 2 p.m. on June 16th. 4 men and 2 women were witnesses to the incident. They saw him at a picnic table near the pool. They said he pulled his pants down and intentionally exposed himself. They then saw him lay down in the grass where he was seen debating after he took off his shoes and socks. Some witnesses confronted the suspect and he started to walk away. Officers arrived and found the suspect still in the area a few blocks away and arrested him. Stringer denied he had done anything wrong. He stated he was exercising and took off his shoes and socks to meditate. Aggravated indecent exposure is a 2-year felony. The suspect was also charged with a misdemeanor count of indecent exposure at his June 18th arraignment. Stinger is also charged in Pontiac 50th District Court on a misdemeanor charge of using texting for a threat or harassment. So that's where we're at with that one. Let's see how this goes. We might need to move to a different court for a bit because this is a bit slow.
Cobb, since we had started discussing that previously. Okay. And so were you able to reach an agreement with Ms. Sabin, right?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So Ms. Sabin, if you guys have an agreement through DRC, I'm going to dismiss the claims against you based upon the representation that there is a dispute resolution agreement in place with regards to the claims against you. Okay, so you can sign off now unless you have testimony to provide related to the claims against Mr. Cobb.
Everything that I have against him is all in evidence that I submitted.
Okay, well, here, let me start. Actually, I forgot to do this and I apologize. This is cause number 37312, Kramer versus Cobb and Sabin. So, well, why don't you just hang on for a minute just to make sure we don't need anything more from you, okay? So, Ms. Kramer, we had started to discuss this previously. You had said there was some rent due.
Right.
And I'm looking at your exhibit. Sorry, I still have the exhibits from the other case. Just one second. There we go. Here we go. So I see everything you've provided several exhibits. Do you have a summary of what your total is? Notice.
Yes, it's at the bottom of that page 9.
Page 9.
$6,456.51, less the amount that Adelie Sabin is going to pay.
Okay, so give me that number one more time.
$6,456.51 minus minus what Adelie Sabin is going to pay, which is $49.25.
25. Okay. And I see you've provided the court with evidence to support all this. Did you have anything to add, Mr. Orfaro?
Orfeo, that's very good.
Orfeo, okay.
There's a ton of things to add. I don't know how relevant they are. I mean, he was a bad tenant. She was great. And it's all very unfortunate. He vacated without notice, left the place full of stuff. Had pets there. He had a male living there who was not on the lease. My understanding after the fact is he was living there almost the whole time. Is that true, Adelie?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So lots
And
of
that's one that
violations.
and that was the one that was living there with him while we were there, and then while I left, he was the one that I tried to get to sign the submission or the substitution.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. So I don't know, Vicky, if he needs to be part of this because he lived there for free too. But
But we don't have any.
I'm here to answer. I've got my files and everything.
We don't have anything in writing with his name on it, though.
No, but
Right.
he definitely used the place. I don't know. That's a lawyer thing, but It seems like we should pay you for a living.
Okay, well, based upon the information I have in front of me, the claims that are being made are against Mr. Cobb and Ms. Sabin, who you have come to an agreement with. So as related to Mr. Cobb, who is not present today, I will go ahead and award the judgment in the amount of $6,407.26, which is the amount you were requesting less the agreement with Ms. Sabin. And this will be against Mr. Cobb only. Then the filing fee of $50. And do you have a proof of service or the service charges?
Yes, it was $71 to Lewis County. And it's page 4, I believe.
Exhibit.
My page is out of order.
Oh, it's okay.
Page 4 and 5 is Christians, and 6 and 8 are Adelaide's.
Okay. All right, so this one's Adelaide for Christian, 71. It looks like it was 71 against.
Correct.
Against Christian.
Right.
Okay, so I'm going to award the 71 against Christian for service. So the total looks like $6,528.26. And that's against Christian Cobb. Okay, sign the order. Is that available online later? Yeah, that'll be available online later today.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
All
I
right.
appreciate it.
And so you can all sign off now.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Your Honor. We're going to move to Judge Simpson because we have the Jeromes back. Now I'm trying to figure out if they were actually on earlier or let's see. Okay. So did they just start?
Nelson Praying on behalf.
Oh, they haven't started yet.
PA District Court for County of Washington, State of Michigan is now back in session. The application of the District Simpson presiding.
You may be seated. I apologize about my delay, folks. Court does call the case of Devana versus Terry Jackson.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. James Nelson Praying on behalf of the plaintiff.
Good afternoon.
It's all right.
Good to see you, Mr. Nelson.
Thank you.
All right, and your name?
Terry Jackson.
All right. All right, and where are we on this case, folks?
Your Honor, we had a hearing last week in front of Judge Bauer, and I'm understanding from Mr. Jackson that they've applied for financial assistance.
Okay, what financial assistance do you apply for? Okay, well, I got missing information here. How much is owing at this time?
4,600, Your Honor, plus court costs.
So are the only thing that you applied for is DHS?
Well, I'm not aware of any that could receive.
Okay, how many people are in your house?
3, including myself.
Okay, so there's a bit of a misnomer. I have to explain this all the time. When it's saying that it's state emergency relief, the most you're going to get with 3 in the house is $620. So that's going to leave you about 4,000 short. So you've not applied anywhere else for any other type of assistance?
I wasn't aware of any other financial assistance for landlords in the matter.
Okay. Is Amy here yet? How much is monthly rent?
1150.
So it's 4,600 through now, and then it's going to click into.
Correct, Your Honor.
All right, well, let me ask plaintiff, you guys want to work with him to try to do this, but let me just say this, Mr. Jackson. If you're otherwise eligible for assistance, typically then the maximum that you would receive would be 3,000 if you're approved for that. Okay. That means, at least as we sit here today, the 1,600 would have to be paid. And if the 1,600 isn't paid, then the 3,000 doesn't get paid. That's the same way it would be with DHS. Unless the balance is paid, DHS isn't going to pay the 620. Follow me? So you said monthly rent is how much? Okay. And so then what's going to end up happening is from about 8 days or whatever the first is, we're going to be at like 57.
Well, I've been receiving disability. So the reason why we fell behind on rent is I suffered an injury that took me off of work. I was laid off due to having surgery and requiring a significant amount of recovery. So I've been receiving disability as of July, which is suffice for the current month's rent, but obviously it's 4 months back, so it's just paying for the previous.
Okay. So you paid July rent basically, if you're looking at it that way.
August.
Okay, so this 4,600 is, you would agree with that? That it's from some.
Yes, Your Honor. I mean,
Sure.
it's what
You're saying yes, but your client is like, "Ooh."
well, Your Honor, the $4,600, I mean, we've been applying it to the arrearage.
Exactly, that's what I mean. Okay, and I understand that, but he's paying the current. He's paying the current rent as it's becoming due. And if he kept up doing what he's doing, we're going to be stuck basically at that 4,600. That's what I was saying it badly. That's what I was trying to get to. All right. Is Amy in the building? Do you know?
She is on her way. She is not yet here. She said in about 20 minutes.
Okay. What I would like to do, because there's not going to be, I guess, much damage that would occur, is I would adjourn this out a week. I want him to, at least, you can't leave. I let the plaintiff leave. I want you to talk to the individual from OCD who can give him some resources and start that process going so that can happen. Okay. So we'll do that. I'll adjourn this then to August 30th, 2024 at
2 p.m.
At 2 p.m. Right. And then that way we can at least get a picture of that. Now, let me ask you this. If, so that you understand, somewhere, and one of the things you have to think about is, if everything goes well, and I'm gonna leave SER out at this moment, but if everything goes well, somehow 1,600 in addition to your monthly rent, we've got to come up with that. Now, let me ask you, do you see a way that's going to happen, or?
Absolutely. I know a way.
I don't like it when people tell me that. Because some people end up on my criminal docket. No, okay, no, I'm messing with you. All right, so, okay, so just keep that in mind when you're talking to Amy. She's probably going to tell you that. All right, and then follow her instructions to the letter. What's ultimately going to also end up happening is once he begins that process and he gets all that information in, we're going to need a ledger from you guys to make sure that they have that amount and what they'll pay. Okay. All right, folks, thank you. And again, good seeing you, Mr. Nelson. Don't leave, young man, you hear me? Oh, okay. Court calls the case, People versus Daria, or not People versus, Daria Gordina versus Brittany Parker.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
And are they here? They have not checked in. What would you like to do, sir?
Your Honor, I think we're taking 1 week adjournment. We've actually come to terms for it.
Okay. That's right. August 30th, 2024 at 2 p.m. Okay, thank you. Oh, what was the first case I called? Why did? So Jackson got up here and talked for himself? Who's that with you? Oh. Trying to make sure it was somebody that could have actually talked for him, because I don't know what he was talking. Let me quit messing with you. Court calls the case Jacob Property Management versus Justin Reeves.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. David Lidge on behalf of-
Justin Reeves. Okay, he's there. Okay, where are we on this case, folks?
This is approved for a $3,000 payment from Hawk. And
Okay.
his current balance is $3,200.
30. Okay.
I probably I still got another half to do. It's 2 o'clock now.
We're hearing all that background noise.
Yeah, I'll see you tomorrow. Later, I don't know. We'll see you sometime.
Seriously. All right. Mr. Reeves, you'll have to get someplace a little bit quieter because the background is, I'm really picking it up if you can. You said, so the balance is 32. He's got 3.
Coming, so we're just $200 off.
All right, Mr. Reeves?
Yes, sir.
Did you hear that?
Yes.
So
I'm in the process of trying to make that payment. Final pay, 200.
Okay, you're gonna pay that directly to the landlord?
Correct.
Okay. So how long is that gonna take you to do?
Worst case scenario, Wednesday, but I plan on having it done before the weekend's over.
Okay, so let's do this. Let me put you out a week. August 30th, 2024 at 2 p.m. Okay, get that payment made, so then that frees that up, because the earlier you can make it, the better off you're gonna be, because once that payment's made, plaintiff has to provide them a new ledger showing that you're at that $3,000 figure.
Yes, sir.
Got it? Okay, we'll see you
Yes,
next
sir.
week.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
That's it for you? Really? Okay. See, I enjoy it when he's here. Gonna get ugly now. All right, Lakestone Apartments versus Janae Curtis.
You're on Steve Gann, P782, and I'm here for plaintiff. How did I know it was going to be my case when you said it's going to get ugly next? Freddie, I was going to say go green.
I actually didn't know, but I thought, yeah, this is apropos.
But I want to make your day because I'm going to ask for an adjournment on this case. My client's been notified that assistance is coming for this resident, and we don't know how long it's going to take. So if we could get a 3 to 4 week adjournment on this motion here, we should be able to withdraw the motion at some point, hopefully.
Wonderful. All right, September 20th?
Sounds great, Your Honor.
All right, matters adjourned to September 20th, 2024 at 1 p.m.
Thank you so much. Have a great weekend.
You do the same, sir. You did make my day. It's the first time. Red Shield Rentals versus Duke Ellison. They're all into. Okay.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. David Fanter on behalf of the plaintiff.
And Your Honor, this is Callie Dendrinos of Legal Services on behalf of Mr. Ellison.
Your Honor, could Ms. Dendrinos and I would respectfully request if we could go into a breakout room with Your Honor.
With me?
Yes.
That really can't happen the way we're set up today.
Okay.
If I might, Your Honor.
Sure.
So Mr. Fanter and I have talked and agreed to adjourn this matter with the court's permission to September 20th because this is a pretty complicated case involving a voucher, which may or may not have been properly terminated. And I believe the court has been made aware of this issue before. There's a question of whether the voucher from RPI was properly terminated. And
right.
I believe I would like, with the court's permission, to—
Hold it. Is this a new one?
Yes, Your Honor, but
Is this the same one I was dealing with?
No, it's a new one, Your Honor.
Oh, joy. All right. Okay.
But for today, all I am asking from the court is Mr. Fanter has agreed to adjourn. I would also like permission from the court to issue a subpoena to Mishta to obtain the records and try to get a handle on what happened, which I think was what Mr. Fantera thought you might want to talk about, because we haven't records yet from RPI.
Yeah, I know we had, I think in the last case, we ended up having to do that also, didn't we? Do you know, Mr. Dendrinos? I don't.
Oh, I don't think so. Often I'm able to use FOIA requests if necessary, but in this case, it might be that we want a actual witness to appear and talk about how they served the notice, if there is a notice. I think is the idea. Anyway, I have just entered the case this week. I apologize. I don't have a clear plan in place, but I also wanted to.
Mr. Fantera, did you have a position on that, or?
No, Your Honor. I think when Ms. Dendrinos said that you were aware of it, it's a case. I haven't specifically talked about this case, but it's a case where we've talked about at our landlord-tenant meetings where RPI has terminated some vouchers without proper notice, or has stopped paying without proper notice. And so I talked to Ms. Masco. She assigned the case to Ms. Dendrinos. And so, I think we're looking procedurally at not only fixing this case, but hopefully fixing the procedures going forward, whether that involves interpleading RPI, whether it involves subpoenaing Mishta, but we're hoping to get some of these things resolved.
Hey, let me ask you this before we sort of launch on it. How many of these do you believe are kind of out there, Mr. Fantera? I mean, from your standpoint, that would be coming before me.
This is the only one I've got right now. I've got one that's before Judge Washington that Legal Services is involved in also.
Okay, because I mean, I'm now remembering this. I'm just trying to remember what we did. And the reason I'm asking that is what I'd like to do is kind of set a procedure how we're going to deal with these. So that when it comes forward, you're not asking me, in this case, I want to do a subpoena, in this case, I want to do this, but that what you're going to know this is what the court's gonna have happen when we run into these, because I have a feeling we might be running into more of these. So if you guys don't mind, what I'd like to do is let Ms. Dendrino sort of get her teeth into some of what's going on, adjourn it out a week. And if you both can be here, we'll try to just set a game plan as to how we're gonna deal with these.
So we'll do it in person on next week. And
Yes.
then after next week, we'll adjourn it to the 20th.
Correct. Yes. Or the 20th or whatever date is at that point gonna work for you guys, whatever. But we'll do that and try to time it out so that if a subpoena is issued, we've got enough time for that. And all of those things, so you guys aren't coming back and forth, but we've got a process by which we're gonna do this, okay?
I'm okay
Does
with
that
that.
make
Ms.
sense to you
Dendrinos.
guys?
Yes,
I'm
that's
okay
fine.
with next Friday.
Yes, I can make it. Thank you.
August 30th, 2024 at 2 p.m. All right, wonderful.
Thank you, Your Honor. Have a great weekend. Thanks, Kelly.
You do the same.
Bye.
It is quiet today, and I'm wondering if it's because other people also didn't get the notification. Because I didn't get it on my side either. So I'm debating whether to portal, start another stream portal, test out the notification again, or just see what happens. I've got a premiere that I've just set for 10:15, but I'm kind of feeling like the Jerome hearing, we missed one. So it feels a little bit boring waiting for it. Let me do this. Friday night, Fleischer catch up. We haven't watched Fleischer in a while, so I'm gonna set that, and then I'm gonna do live stream, edit, customization, no customization, redirect. There, save. Yeah, it's okay, Steve. We haven't watched for a few days, so. All right, everybody hang tight. I'm going to portal you. I am just trying to get the link to that in case the portal doesn't work. Live. View on YouTube. Share. Copy. Here we go. All right, I'll see you guys there in a minute.